and I am glad to talk tonight a little bit about American universities and how to build your profile. And so I have a short presentation, and uh, if everyone could just mute, that would be quite helpful. Thank you. I have a short presentation, and then I'm very happy to take personalized questions at the end. And my colleague Rajni will help me moderate those. So today we are going to talk about something really interesting. Definitely my favorite topic, which is, oh, can I share my screen, Smita?
Yes, sure, sir. Ms. Manshi, can you enable that for Mr. Henderson?
Record.
Yes, Ms. Manshi. Ms. Soma.
Huh?
Yes, okay. Who is from the support
Thank you.
team who's joining us? Yeah,
Nope,
okay.
that's
All right.
okay. It's all set. So
Yes, thank you.
today we are going to talk about a really important topic, which is the 7 pillars of profile building. Okay. I am Nick Henderson. I went to Harvard. I have started a company called SI, and we have helped more than 500 students in the past 8 years. It's actually been 10 years now. I also wrote a textbook on the SAT. So I've been doing this a long time. Now, what is profile building and why is it important? Profile building is a huge part of US higher education admissions, like Ivy Leagues. Sometimes these colleges say that they practice holistic admissions. That's exactly where I come in. And that's also where Clever Ed comes in, because Clever Ed offers really great profile building opportunities, which is exactly what is required. Now, and as you can see, my best guess, it's about 50% grades, 25% profile, 25% SAT. Oops, sorry, that should say 25%. Now, but compare that to the UK, and so this is my best estimate, but compare that to the UK, and the UK is like 90% grades. There's no SAT, no ACT, and honestly, it's like less than 10% profile. So we think that having a good profile is really important, okay? It is important to get in to the really good US unis. Now, when I say really good, what me and my company focus on are the really good ones, okay? Princeton, Columbia, Harvard, MIT, Yale, Stanford, U Chicago, UPenn, Caltech, Northwestern. These have about, 4 or 5% acceptance rate, something like that. It's really selective, okay? And of course, these are getting more and more selective all the time. Back when I got into Harvard, it was like 10% acceptance rate. People were like, oh my God, this is crazy selective. It's too much. And then 20 years later, it's like 3 times as tough to get in. Okay. So we place people in these unis all the time, often, in fact. Okay. The way our students get there is they have really good profiles. Side note, we do not just focus on the Ivy League, because the Ivy League doesn't even include Stanford or MIT or Carnegie Mellon. That's got the best computer science in the world. Anyone who loves studying at Clever Ed is going to want to go to Carnegie Mellon, no doubt. Now, and these ones, they have an average acceptance rate of about 6%, but we love places like UC Berkeley, UCLA, USC. This is the kind of next 20, okay? These are pretty much the top 20, and these ones are pretty much the next 20. These have about 13% acceptance rate. Of course, in this top 20 at my company, SI, the acceptance rate is 6%. Our students crack one or more 70% of the time. Like, wow. Now they have to have a decent SAT, but that's 70% of the time. And when you add in these, the next 20, they actually crack it about 80% of the time. It's insane, okay? And even for the students who didn't get the very good SAT scores, they still crack it 70% of the time. Okay? So, what does this really mean? It means that when you get good school grades and when you have a decent SAT, a thoughtful, developed, and personalized profile can be a huge difference maker for the best unis in the world. Okay? Now, so that means we need to find out what is a profile. Okay? For the US applications, a profile is the set of activities you put on your application. This is a screenshot from the application. And it says reporting activities can help colleges better understand your life outside the classroom. And it gives you all these examples and it says, do you have anything you'd like to report? And you will say, yes. Now, this is the way to report all of your best activities, like a clever ed internship. I often have students put that. They sometimes get into the Ivy Leagues. Wow. Okay. Now, and you'll see in tiny little font right there, 10. The maximum is 10. Okay. So really, that means you require 10. There's actually one more interesting feature of these. And if you guys are interested in computer science, you'll be interested in this because on the actual form, you have to tick these boxes, the participation grade levels, the number of years you've done it, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, or PG, which part during the year, and you have to enter numeric characters here, the number of hours per week and weeks per year, okay? So this actually allows us to draw several characteristics about a really good US profile, okay? So step one, we need 10 activities. Common App Portal provides 10 spaces to list activities, so we need 10. Number two, we want nice continuous activities. Not every single one, but we definitely need to have about 2 or 3, okay? And that could be doing several Clever Ed programs. That counts as being continuous, because if you do it every year, you get to show that you've done it every year, okay? You can put multiple years here for any given activity. It's great. So, what are these actual types of activities? Now, I'm going to tell you the 7 different types of activities, okay? I'm going to give you some specific suggestions. And then, if you have any questions, you can ask them at the end, or you can fix up an appointment and be able to have a one-to-one chat with me personally to talk about how you can build your profile. So, profile building is made of 7 pieces, okay? Summer schools, research papers, social projects, school engagement, academic enrichment. Clever Ed has some interesting offerings that fall under this bracket, non-academic enrichment, and internships. These are really important, and Clever Ed falls under this one. So, what are summer schools? Summer schools are structured, subject-specific learning opportunities that can be online or in person. That can be credit-bearing or pre-college. That can be graded or not graded. I'm so sorry. If you could just mute yourself. I'm just going to mute you. Now, and that can be graded or not graded. Research projects is the next one. And these are extended subject-specific investigations, typically about 10 pages long, of a social or scientific question, which applies methods over the standard research project structure. We'll even talk about that today. The next bit is social projects. These are great. These are targeted social service leadership initiatives. And people love doing these. They're so important. But these need to have some very particular attributes. These need to have a partner. These need to have a demographic. These need to have some engagement element. This needs to be documented somehow. And then we have school engagement. That's point number 4. Joining, leading, or starting clubs, okay? Which show engagement with your intended major, ideally. Next one is participating in and potentially winning local, national, or international competitions, or just doing enrichment. That's like Clever Ed. The second to last is non-academic enrichment. And this means like sports or music. It's important. It's nice if you have one or two of those. And the final thing, just like Clever Ed, these are structured 1 to 3 week subject-specific experiences, which usually need to happen at a company within a specific sector, in a specific department, in which you play a specific function. Okay? So for Clever Ed, they're brilliant AI internships. This is almost like a research internship, and people really like them. Now, can we redefine a profile based on this? We can, okay? A profile is a curated and specialized mix of activities, which is relevant to one academic subject and maybe even something more specific that includes summer schools, research projects, social service projects, academic and even non-academic enrichment, internships, and school engagement to showcase selected and strategic attributes. Okay? So 10 activities is the max. Now, you might think, okay, so I've given you some basic ways to talk about this stuff. What are the actual activities? I will tell you. Now, and this is the method that I use to help my students get into Harvard, Stanford, Columbia, Penn, Berkeley, USC. 70% of my students are getting into the best unis just as their grades are decent. Even for people whose grades aren't so good, they still get into decent unis. Now, summer school is piece number one. Okay, maybe Clever Ed can make a summer school one day. Summer school is tied in with a uni. There's two types: credit bearing and pre-college. Credit bearing, these are a bit longer. These are usually a bit more theoretical, and they're graded. These are college level courses. Pre-college, they're really great for younger students. They're a little shorter. They're more real world focused. They're not typically graded. Now, there are basically 3 types of summer school intensity. There's pre-college, which is kind of like the easiest, but it's brilliant for younger students. There's credit bearing, which is brilliant for older students. And then there are some highly selective specialty programs. These are super good. They are really selective, and they help your profile like crazy. So there's SUMAC, RSI. These are both math. This one's math. This one's science. SSP, that's like biochem. ISSYP, that's physics. ROS, that's math. PROMIS, that's a really famous math program. And MNTSI, that's this business engineering program. It's super famous, okay? So this is like the best of the best. And then there's pre-college, or there's credit bearing, and then there's pre-college. Okay, so maybe if you do one of these in 9th, you could try this one maybe after 10th. And maybe if you're really ready, you could try for one of these after 11th. These are very, very selective. Now, the US has about 300 unis that offer summer schools, but it's all about choosing the right ones, okay? Because first you got to think about the cost. And the cost, it's like anywhere from 50,000 INR to like 5 lakh or even 10 lakh. Now, and then there's the duration. It could be 1 week, it could be 7 weeks. Sometimes it's 3 weeks. And then there's the dates. Annoyingly for CBSE students, these tend to be in like July, okay? But there's some that are in June. And then there's the mode, online and in person. And then, there's just a specific eligibility criteria. Sometimes you can't do them because you're too young, okay? So basically, here are some examples of good summer schools. I'm very happy to give you tangible things. I'm so sorry. I think someone's drawn on the screen. If the co-host could help me clear that, that'd be great. YYGS is terrific, okay? Cornell summer session is great. Yale summer session. Guys, if you're not writing this down, you should, because these can get you into the Ivy Leagues. I'm not kidding, okay? Because these admit international students. These are both online and in-person courses. These are credit-bearing, and they fall within the standard Indian summer. USC summer session, it's 4 weeks graded in-person credit-bearing. Harvard SSP, 7 weeks graded in-person or online credit-bearing. I've had people this year do all of these programs and get into Ivy Leagues. Now, you would say, is there a way to choose the perfect summer school? Yeah, it fits your preferences. The preferences are these preferences. These are the things that you will have preferences about. I guarantee it. Now, it is credit-bearing, okay? I have not listed out all the credit-bearing programs. That would take me too long. You're welcome to book an appointment with Rajni, and I can tell you all about it. And number two, and the final thing, it has to match perfectly with your intended major. So that you'll be indicating on the application. So if you want to put computer science, and Cornell offers a computer science class, and if it is comfortable with cost, and it's the perfect date, and you're eligible, do it. It's as simple as that. Now, after the summer school comes the social project. These are really fun, and they're really important because a social project, this is a way to show leadership and organizational ability and your resourcefulness, okay? So a social project is something that addresses a key social development issue. Apart from just being charitable and pro-social, it also shows that you have a sophisticated social understanding of the impact of a specific problem on a specific group. So it's not about doing something general. It's about doing something very specific. Now, there is a formula. I am going to share with you my formula. A social project requires a partner organization. It requires a specific demographic you want to help. Maybe it's like kids. It requires some engagement. Like you have to think of something you want to do. Maybe it's teaching, maybe it's donation, maybe it's other things. It helps to have some content, okay? Something that you've prepared that shows that you've done your homework. A donation can be nice. And lastly, some good, accurate documentation, like a great website. So, guys, this is it. And I'm going to explain the formula to you. You need a partner organization, and this could be an NGO or a CSR department, because you need something that can help you get an LOR. That's important. And then you need a specific demographic because you need to show that you care about a specific group of people. It's not enough just to do general charity. It has to be specific. Then planned engagement, this is like what you do. You have to do something. Hint, this is the hard part, okay? And then documentation, hey, you need to have a website with pictures, and you can apply for social project awards. Those are great. Now, we're going to do something interactive. We're going to look at 2 examples of projects, not real examples, but they're pretty based on reality. You're going to tell me, what do you think is the better project? So let's look at student number 1. Student number 1 starts a girl dream to help urban, low-income girls find job placements in professional settings. So student number 1 works with a certified NGO, creates and delivers an original teaching program, finds 10 local businesses, each who agree to take on 2 students who have completed this training program. Wow. Student number 2 helps dogs a lot in their colony, works with their neighbors to make a feeding schedule, encourages people to adopt dogs, and has like 5 dogs for themselves. Okay. Now, put in the chat, which do you think is the better project? I'll be curious what people say. Student number 1, student number 2. Yeah, good job, Safal. It is student number 1. Now, you guys, why don't you put your reasons? Why do you think this is the better project? Yeah, you're right, guys. You nailed it. Okay. It's better because, well, type it in. I can wait 5 seconds. Yeah, helps a specific group of people. So it helps, it's exactly right. Good job, It helps urban low-income girls. And then, oops, um, it it is much more specifically directed. It has a really clear goal. It's going to help them find job placements. So a project has to do one thing. This is the engagement, okay? And then it's tied in with the proper NGO. So that means you can get a really good letter. And also you can just help an organization who's already doing good work. And so it's just like much better. It seems much better because it is much better. Okay. Now, so a social project isn't just doing something nice, it's doing it in a clever way. Clever like clever ed. Now, the research project is something brilliant because this is actually very similar to what clever ed does. Okay. A research project is a structured, multi-part written project, usually 10 pages, could be 20 pages, which explores a phenomena. That just means a topic using academic methods. Now, the phenomena it explores could be social, like poverty, or it could be scientific, like solar energy, okay? And if it's a social paper, probably it'll use qualitative methods because those are the human and these methods. And then if it's a scientific topic, it'll probably use scientific methods. Those are usually thought of as quantitative methods, okay? So the type of phenomena and the type of methods you use define the type of paper, okay? So if you do a science phenomena using quantitative methods, like let's say you're like exploring some new idea in AI, of course you're going to use quantitative methods, bada bing. So you've just written a science paper, okay? Now, a research paper has to have 6 parts. It has to have 6 parts. If it doesn't have 6 parts, it's not a research paper, okay? Now, it has to have an introduction that's usually like some 2 pages, okay? That outlines the problem and that gives the problem statement. And then it's got to have the literature review. That's like 2-pager, okay? And it's where you talk about and you show that you've read like maybe 5 or even 10 past papers that treat the same topic. You talk a little bit about how maybe they don't fully they don't fully answer the question that you propose to answer. And then you got to have a methods and data section, okay? So that means we have to find a data set that you can explore using methods, okay, that'll help you address this question. The methods is the hard part. And then you have to apply those methods, and that's the analysis bit, and you talk about the results. That's it, okay? Finally, second to last, discussion and conclusion. This is you just talk about the results a little more generally. And then in works cited, you just say what all papers you referenced. So if you do the IB program, you will do this. If you do the A-level syllabus, you'll probably do this. If you do CBSE or ISC, this is a little unusual. You probably haven't done this in this way. I have a program that can help you, okay? I have this amazing research program that's called Discover. It's part of SI, and we help our students do these amazing counseling projects. So what do you do after? Well, what are the types of research project? Okay, there's 2 types. There's always 2 types. So it's either a mentored project, and this is where you work closely with someone who is like PhD, like Dr. Khan, okay? And they really guide you and they help you pick a proper subject and they help teach you the methods. Or you can do an independent paper. And that's something you do yourself. You do not require a mentor for an independent paper. It's usually a little bit shorter and it doesn't maybe have the same level of methods, but that's okay. They're both good, okay? Now, what you do after the paper is like the whole point, because first you do the paper and then you have to get it out there. So for science projects, if you live in India, you would submit it to something called the Iris National Science Fair. This is a real competition. You guys should check it out. I'm going to give you the link right here. It has 21 science categories, ranging from animal science to computer science to embedded systems to many different types. And this is the qualifier for ISIF. Okay, ISIF is like the World Cup of science fairs. And if it's a non-science project, like an economics project, that's also great. Okay, submit it to a journal or submit it to a high school journal or send it to unis. Okay, why not? Sometimes they publish high school work. I know which ones do. So, is there a perfect research project? Well, yes. Ideally, it is mentored. Ideally, it is successfully submitted to national competition. Maybe it wins, maybe it doesn't win. The main thing is that you submit it. And then it has to match perfectly with your intended major, which is really whatever subject you make your profile about. So you're probably sensing a theme. Now, these three are the big ones. These three are kind of complicated and they take a long time. These last four are really important, but they're like a bit more doable. Now, school engagement is a really cool thing because it's quite fun and it's quite accessible. There's three different types of school engagement. Club membership. So this shows interest in some structured investigation of a topic, like if you're in the eco club or the computer science club. Club leadership. Be named, become the leader, okay? Be the person deciding. Be the person setting the agendas for the meetings. The American universities love that. And one level up is club creation, okay? This shows such passion, such leadership, such credibility, okay? Now, then after that, academic enrichment. This is the most interesting pillar because this is all about doing cool exams, like proper Olympiads or competitions, like submission-based competitions like John Locke, or really good enrichment programs. This is like literally like Clever Ed, okay? Or doing online courses. Honestly, I think it's terrific when people do enrichment programs. Now, we're nearly there. Non-academic enrichment, think of it that there's two types, okay? This is the stuff that isn't related to what subject you want to study. It's the stuff you do for fun. The stuff that is particularly good for the profile would be level-based activities, like piano or martial arts or foreign language, because that means, well, for piano, the max level is grade 8 in Trinity or Rock School or ABRSM. Martial arts, the max level is black belt. Foreign language, the max level is B2. Okay, well, technically C2. Now, so it's always good to do level-based activities, but of course you could do like painting or cooking. It's still cool. It still helps, but these are a little bit nicer. Okay. And then finally, internship. This is kind of what Clever Ed offers too. It's great. An internship is usually it's a 1 to 3 week professional exposure at a company. The company, well, this will have 3 parts to it, guaranteed. It will always have a sector. That is the type of industry that it is in. Tech or manufacturing or retail or my company or Clever Ed, education. There will be some department that you will be attached to in your internship. Usually, if you do the Dr. Khan and research internship, that is a research, you would do a research internship. And there's a function. You put together some report, usually. So here's the formula. Internship equals sector plus department plus function. Now, it's fun to think about the permutations, how many different types of Ivy League profiles you can make. Because like we said, there's 3 levels of summer school. There's 2 types of research project. There's well, more than four. There's four or five components of a social project. It's 3 types of school engagement, 4 types of academic enrichment, 2 types of non-academic enrichment, if it's continuous or discrete. And there's 3 components of an internship. If you multiply these together, that's about 1,700. And there's about 30 different subjects that you can make a profile in. So that gives you about 50,000 different profiles. Okay. So guys, and there's about, ironically, there's, 50,000. Okay. And of the top 20 ranked universities, they take about 50,000 students. That's interesting. Okay. So I'm Nick Henderson, and this process works. I would be very happy to answer any questions if you have them about American universities, about profile building, about what you should do, what subjects you should take. I've only scratched the surface. But what I can tell you is that really the perfect profile is detailed, planned, supported, and specific to you. Okay? So I'm going to leave my contact information in the chat. My colleague Rajni will leave her contact information in the chat. We can stick around and answer some questions. And we're going to leave this presentation with Clever Ed. So on that note, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And I'll be very happy to take any specific questions.
Students, if you have any queries or concerns, you can just share it with Mr. Nick, and he'll be delighted to answer you all.
Yes, sir. I
Certainly.
had a question.
Adi, please, go ahead.
Does this formula work on like UK schools as well, or only American schools?
Does it help for universities in the UK?
Yeah.
Research projects, summer schools, and academic enrichment helps with those 3. You wouldn't typically need to do social service or music or anything. I mean, it doesn't hurt, but it isn't strictly needed.
Okay. Thank you.
Get good grades, okay? That's what's needed. Almost. So when do you actually start profile building process? Typically in 9th grade or 10th grade. 11th grade is possible, but it's a bit late. 8th grade is possible, but it's a bit early. The US unis only start looking for activities in 9th grade, okay? Good question, though.
I was wondering, what value does participation in debate in MUNs have? Debate competitions, MUNs, things like
It's
those?
excellent. Excellent. It's non-academic enrichment. That would count as one big activity, potentially. You can call it all public speaking. Typically, Abdullah, if you have done, say, 10 such competitions, debates or MUNs in your high school career, I consider that a fairly high quality activity. If you have done 20 such competitions, that would be 5 per year. I call that pretty good. So yes, it is an activity that is consistent with really good profiles. It's not usually their main activity, if you see what I mean.
I understand.
Yeah, it's a great activity though. Now, okay. Well, let's say Safal. How can I help you?
Hi, sir. Like Abdullah said, I actually attended the Yale MUN, so like
Nice.
big MUN. So like that, how
Good.
many should I attempt?
What
Like,
grade are you in, Safal?
I'm currently in 10th, but I was in
Nice.
9th when I did it last Jan.
Perfect. We want you, because remember, Safal, in my presentation, it talks about having to give in the number of weeks in a year you do your activity and the number of years. Okay.
Mhm.
So I think you should try to do something with MUN. If you can do like 5 per year, that's considered good. That's considered quite a lot. That would be quite a substantial activity. I'd put that probably in your top 3 activities for pretty much
Okay.
any kid. Okay. But you can't just do MUNs. You can't get into an Ivy League on MUN alone. You have to
Mhm.
do, no, you can't. You have to do an internship. You have to have some leadership. You have to have the social service. Okay. We
Yeah.
need to get 10 activities, and all the MUNs you do, it's only one activity. Okay. So that's why it's very helpful to show different types of activity. So, I mean, Safal, the presentation I just gave is literally my method. I've done this so many times. I've applied to like 20,000 unis. And so I'm sharing with you guys the exact method. If you find it difficult to translate that into real life, give me a call. Okay. Set up a consultation. Now,
Thank you very much, sir.
Of course, Sajni.
Good evening, sir.
Evening.
My name is Sajni. I'm currently in grade 9.
Excellent.
I have written and published 20 books, and thank you so much for the valuable insights. So,
20.
which area?
Wow.
Yes,
On what topics?
I've written novels, poetry, short
Amazing.
stories, anthologies, and different types of
Tremendous.
collections, as well as series books.
Okay. Well, that's a really, really powerful accomplishment. Okay.
So,
Okay. Mhm.
which area in the profile building that you discussed, which area does this come in?
Good question. This could be considered, it could be considered non-academic enrichment, something that's just creative. Or if you have a humanities profile, you could, like if you applied for English at Harvard, you could count that under academic enrichment too. That's a really good one. Okay. Or if you printed up some of your books and you donated them to some NGOs, then you could even make a social project out of that. You see what I mean? So it's a brilliant thing to do. Exactly how we classify it would probably depend on exactly what subject we build your profile in. But I think you should turn that into a social project. I think that sounds really nice.
Thank you so much, sir.
Wonderful, Sajni. Now, Neeraj Krishna.
Hello, sir. Do you know like the top universities in? Can you like tell me the top universities in UK?
The top for which subject?
Computer science.
Computer science. Cambridge, Oxford, Imperial, UCL, probably Manchester, King's, Edinburgh, in that order. In the UK, you're only allowed to apply to 5 universities, and you cannot apply both to Oxford, Cambridge. So I would probably say Cambridge, Imperial, UCL, Manchester, King's. That would be basically the best list. Probably this would be the best list.
All right. And also, I've heard about the school called UTC, and apparently, like, it's really good, and it's connected to all the big companies like Microsoft and
What
stuff
school?
like that. UTC,
UTC?
University Tech College, Technical College.
University Technical College. Okay, I'll look into it. That would not be, in the UK, because I detect a British accent. Typically, typically they're aiming for the Russell Group universities. Those are about 25 unis. They're just the most academically selective. But to be perfectly honest, computer science is such a good degree. You can get a job at Microsoft out of many different unis. Just go there, get a great degree, have a great time. You'll have a very nice career. I specialize in the UK. I know all about it. You should set up an appointment. I'd be happy to chat more.
All right, thank you.
Good. Now, next up is Anya.
Hi, sir. Good evening.
Evening.
I'm in year 10, grade 9, but I participate in a math challenge called the Intermediate Math Challenge. There's also the Senior Math Challenge. It's done by the UK Mathematics Trust. What kind of
I know
value
it.
would that hold?
So typically, that's a really interesting question. So usually the really motivated students would do, so they would do perhaps, let's say they had a math-based profile and they're trying to put something together. They would probably do 5 to 8 such challenges per year. Okay. because there's challenges all over the
Yeah.
world. It's not expensive to do. I know every single one. I'd be very happy to tell you what they are. AMC, CEMC, SASMO, like that. Okay, so yeah, I'd say that it's good, but we should do as many of those competitions as you can. Okay? There's not, all right, so it's a good start.
All right.
Good.
Thank you.
And you're welcome. Set up an appointment. I can point you in the right direction. Now, oh, Abdullah again. What's up?
I was just wondering, for people who haven't really decided what career they want to pursue, like what specific subject they want to take, what activities would you recommend for those type of people?
What subjects do you take in high school?
In high school, I'm taking sciences, but again, I haven't really decided what career I want to specifically pursue. So, what general activities would you recommend?
It's a very good question. Well, I would recommend you, first off, I'd recommend you think seriously about the American system because that's perfect for you. Okay. In the American system of universities, you can basically get in and then pick your course. In every other system, you first have to pick your course and then get in for that course. So, Abdullah, for you, go to America. Now, number two question, how do you choose what you want to do in your career? In America, you just kind of figure that out once you get to uni, man. Let's say you want to decide now, it's a basic choice between engineering or non-engineering. Okay, if you take the engineering combination in school, PCM, I mean, engineering is excellent. You could, because you have a very good career. You can always convert that into a brilliant business career or an entrepreneurship career. So are you good at math and science?
I would say so, yes.
Okay. And do you enjoy studying math and science?
Yeah.
Do your parents want you to be an engineer?
And they're personally fine with any subject, but
Okay.
I wouldn't say they wouldn't like, they would like engineering.
They're pretty relaxed. Think about engineering, buddy, because if you're good at math and science and you do clever ed programs, then and you take PCM and you're scoring well in school, you're basically on the engineering track. So we can think about this in a bit more of a sophisticated way. Set up an appointment with Rajni, and then we'll figure it out.
Same thing. And just one more question.
Mhm.
So, you mentioned the American system, you get to the university first, then choose your degree, your major.
Yes, basically.
Is it possible that we just mix and match all the activities that we do? Like, I do a scientific research paper, I participate in amendments and debates, I do
Yeah.
a CS internship. Like, I can just put all of that in there.
We can mix. That's a really great question. We can mix and match about 7 out of 10 activities, but in order to get into an elite US uni, that's what I do. It just really helps to show you have a specific interest. Okay. You don't have to stick with that interest once you get in. Okay. But in order to get in, you need to have, let's say, minimum three activities which link up with kind of one academic subject, just in order to be able to substantiate your selection of your intended major. On the US applications, they will ask, what do you intend to major in? Okay. This is not binding, of course. Now, and then you must have something to say. Okay. Now, the person who advises on what you should pick and the activities you should do to substantiate it, that is what a counselor does. Or rather, I can't speak to the caliber of other counselors, but that is what I do, because that is what is needed. Okay?
Thank you.
Good. Safal, you asked how many unis can you apply to in the max number? Well, the most I've ever applied to in the US, about 31. That was very tiring. There's
Yeah, so
one. Mhm.
no, so just because you said to the other guy that you can apply to max 5 universities in the UK, right?
Oh, yes.
So I
Yes,
thought,
true.
yeah.
US about 30, UK maximum 5.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Very welcome. Now, the next is Niatu. I'm interested in doing computer science, but physics is not my forte. Which course in US is ideal for me? Well, you should take a Bachelor of Science in Comp Sci. Okay, think of it this way. The US offers Comp Sci in 2 ways. Way number 1, through the engineering track. Okay, that would be called a Bachelor of Science in Engineering, which is similar to the BTech in India. Method number 2 would be through the BSc route. Okay, this would be called a BS in CS. Okay, the second one is not an engineering degree, and as such, does not require physics coursework. Okay, so BS and CS, that's the one you should do. Now, Hamda writes, I am interested in psychology, so I'm volunteering as a listener at 7 Cups. I've heard of that. That's so nice. Okay. Do you do online volunteering help? Of course. That's one activity. You need 10 activities. Better yet, that's a relevant activity. So that ties in with psychology. You only need 5 of those. So nice job with that. Okay. Yeah, you should do it, and then you should, maybe you should try to start a peer mentoring, a peer listening program at your school, Hamda, because you have this great experience with 7 Cups. You get trained up. Take that experience, start a school club, that's school engagement. Okay. Start as peer listening club. There's another activity, and that shows leadership. Okay. So, very good. Set up an appointment if you'd like to learn more, Hamda. I think you're on the right track. Now, Adina says, I am currently in year 9 and have taken psych, bio, business for year 10. Which board, Adina? Okay, while we wait for Adina, let's have someone else ask a question. Deepa, why don't you go?
Hi, good evening. My son is in grade 8 right now.
Lovely.
He has won some international level competitions, but I understand whatever they have done until like grade 8 is not having any.
Well, it's not
Okay,
my
so my
rule.
question.
It's not my
Okay.
rule, but yes, it's the US. On the application form itself, they only allow you to indicate 9th, 10th, 11th, or 12th, not 8th. Okay.
Okay. So my
So,
question here, sir.
please.
While they are more focused on the profile building activity from grade 9, how important it is to maintain their academic performance at school?
It is absolute importance number 1. I got 20 Ivy League placements this year. Okay. Now, all of them had good academics. Put it this way, none of them had bad academics. You cannot have bad academics and get into
No,
Ivy
my
League.
question, my question is grade 9, 10, 11, and 12, are all of them have equal importance? Or because in
No.
Indian curriculum, it is mostly when we
Of
apply
course.
for colleges or universities within
Sorry.
India.
Now I understand. Yes.
Yeah.
Of this, you would say 9th has approximately 10% weightage. 10th, I think, has about 25% weightage. 11th is by far the most. This would have about 40% weightage. 12th grade predicted don't have as much weightage as people thinks. I think that's the balance. Okay, that's probably about 25% weightage. So ninth is least. That's true. I have seen people get into Harvard if they have C's in ninth somehow. In 10th, it's more important, and in 11th, it's the most important.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much.
Good. And he must take mathematics in 11th. Oh, there's so much I can explain to you. You should book an appointment. Now, let's ask Alvia. How can I help you?
Good afternoon. I have a question about because I finished the Clever Junior Data Scientist course.
Wow.
I finished
Cool.
it at the age of 11. So I
Okay.
was wondering, would that be too early to put on my
Well,
recommendation?
as I think it's an amazing accomplishment, so well done. And I think, as long as it is something that you continue to build, okay, then it is great. But that is the essence of profile building, Olivia. So, if you finish this brilliant certification, well, we should find you some other certification, or there should be competitions, or you can start a data science society in your school, something like that. Okay, so it sort of counts as long as it's part of a continuous activity. Okay.
Okay, thank you very
That's
much.
great. Well done. That's a tremendous achievement. Now, Jiri says, is an American school or British school better for studying law? Well, you cannot study law in a US undergraduate uni. Why not? Because it isn't offered. So UK unis are better for undergrad law. Okay. In US, you can only study law in postgraduate, and it is a 3-year degree. So that means in US, it is 4 years of undergrad plus 3 years of postgrad. That is 7 years total. Whereas in UK, it is, well, LLB is 3 years total. So UK is better because it's shorter and you save money. Okay. Anya. Okay, no Anya. Safal. Nope. Oh, there's Anya. Anya, go ahead.
So sorry. I study the British curriculum.
Good.
Which year is most important? What has the most impact on my application?
Would you go to school in the UK or the US or India?
I'm actually in Dubai.
Oh, great.
but the
Okay.
British
I know
curriculum.
the Dubai schools. For you, realistically, year 12. But yeah, realistically, year 12. You have to select the correct A levels. Which year are you in?
I'm in year 10 right now.
You're in year 10? Oh, okay. So you just started.
Yeah,
Are you finishing year 10?
kind of.
Okay, you're getting towards the end of year 10. Yeah. So
Yeah.
year 11 is the GCSEs, year 12
Yes,
is the A
that's
levels,
right.
like that.
Yeah.
The most important ones by far are year 12 and year 11. And I think year 12 is a little bit more important than year 11, but the GCSEs are quite important. So book an appointment. I can advise you.
All right. Thank you,
Good.
sir.
Certainly. Back to Safal.
Yeah, hi, sir. Sir, actually, sir, my school, my board is ICSE and I'm in 10th. And my school does not have any system based on clubs or activities. They are just
Yeah.
simple education. So what could I
Yeah.
do?
I know what you mean. We'll have to build it entirely outside of school. Well, doing things, honestly, doing enrichment like Clever Ed is a brilliant start. It really is. And then research projects we can do outside of school. It's easy. Internships, there's ways to get internships outside of school, that kind of thing. Summer programs, and it doesn't have to be very expensive. There are low cost summer programs that I know. Okay. So, we just have to be a little bit more active, but it's not that different. It's all the same stuff. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Excellent, Safo. No, good question. So I'll take one final question. Deepa. Okay. Well, in that case, Clever Ed. Thank you very much. Oh, one more from Abdullah, and then that's it.
Thank
So
you
I
so
was
much, Mr. Nick, for your time. Yeah. Do we have any other questions?
yes, I just wanted to ask one more question.
Yeah.
Sure.
So I'm doing IGCSE and I'm currently in grade 10, and I was wondering how would so the thing is Urdu is my native language and I'm a bit weak in it. So
Okay.
would poor performance there affect my overall chances? Because I'm good in other subjects like sciences, maths, English. I'm good in those subjects. So would poor performance in Urdu, for example, have a big enough impact?
How poor are we talking?
Well,
70, 80, 60?
maybe a D,
50?
B.
Okay. That would not be good for an American admission. You would be 10 times better dropping Urdu or trying to convince school not to send in your Urdu result. Okay. So, no, we should talk. We have about 6 months no, we have the year to figure it out. But I mean, no, whatever you take your boards in, the US will look at. That's a guarantee. So, we maybe have to make sure you don't take the board exam in Urdu somehow. I'm not sure how, but maybe we'll figure it out. Now, okay, and so someone's asked me a question about AP exams. Yes, they're important. If you take the Indian National Syllabus, you should try to take 3 AP tests, okay? The AP tests are offered in 41 subjects. 3 is considered consistent with elite American admissions, which is what I do. So contact my office. Deepa Rajni, my head of business development, can certainly coordinate an appointment. Her number is in the chat. Now, thank you very much, Clever Ed. I'm afraid I've got to go.
Thank you so much, Mr. Nick, for your
Wonderful.
valuable feedback and time. And
Thank
it was
you.
pleasure having you with us. And I
Good.
hope our students really had with some very good information related. So thank you
Excellent
so much once
questions.
again. And if anyone has any query, Miss Rajni's number is there. You can either connect with me as well, and I'll forward you to SI Communications for further help. Okay?
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well,
Thank you so much, sir.
I greatly admire Clever Ed. I am delighted to support your mission in any way. Thank you
It's
very
a
much,
pleasure, sir.
people.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Rajni. Thank you, everyone. Please take care. Bye-bye. Good
Bye-bye.
night.
Have a pleasant evening. Bye-bye-bye.
You too. Bye-bye. Okay, students, if you have any queries and concerns, you can directly connect with me. This is Ms. Iksha, Business Head Clever. I'm dropping my number in the chat as well. If I would also request you all to please fill the feedback form, because it will help us, to help you out further. Okay. Thank you so much for all your time. Have a nice day ahead. Please take care. I hope you all liked it and it was informative to everyone. Thank you. Please take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.